after a document talking about gigantic cuts in defense funding was revealed on our air. The leadership of Poland's Ministry of Defense argues that there will be no cuts and that the ministry's budget will increase by 1/10, except that it's not about the budget at all. They simply want to cut those expenses planned. This is not money that is budgeted to be spent on the defense ministry. This is money that is planned to make necessary purchases, and this is where the cuts are to be made. Because the increase in the budget announced by the Defense Ministry is related to the growing number of Polish soldiers and issues such as army service and soldiers' pensions, the revealed plan for cuts is all the more worrisome because it may involve, among other things, contracts for the supply of military equipment. The entire mechanism for creating what the General Staff has proposed, that is to build such forces that will be able to repel a Russian attack on their own, is being destroyed at the moment. This is about the critical for Polish defense framework contracts signed during the Law and Justice government for the supply of state-of-the-art American and Korean equipment for the Polish army. We are still waiting for a contract to be signed for the acquisition of 96 Apache attack helicopters. We are still waiting for the acquisition of nearly 500 HIMARS launchers, and we are waiting for an agreement with South Korea for the production of K2 tanks in Poland, and so far, there is no action. In the context of obtaining American Apache helicopters, the Tusk government's lack of action is all the more surprising, given that according to recent Wall Street Journal reports, Poland recently handed over half of its Mi-24 attack helicopters to Ukraine. A document, the so-called letter of acceptance, that is, an agreement from the U.S. government, has been sitting on my desk for several months, while the possibility of signing this agreement is conditional on the offset package. We are actually very close to signing a contract for the acquisition of U.S. attack helicopters. We trained pilots in the United States. The Americans were supposed to lend Poland some quantity of these helicopters to use for a while before we got the helicopters of our own. There is no contract, no signature. The pilots are there, but they don't have anything to fly on. The same is true of contracts with South Korea. As of early July, a contract signed by Law and Justice forming a consortium between the Poznań Military Automotive Plant and a South Korean tank manufacturer expired. According to the agreement, K2 tanks were to be produced in Poland. If there is no goodwill to make rapid progress in modernizing the Polish army, and if you play for time, then it leads to contracts being broken. The question is whether the reason for the new government's sluggishness is not Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk's turn to Berlin, because as he said recently during a visit by German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, it is Germany that is to become the leading country in the matter of European security, including Polish security. Rather than making our sovereign decisions regarding arms industry purchases, whether cooperating with South Korea or the US, will it be such an expectation on the part of our Western partners in the European Union that we can only do these arms contracts with either the French or the Germans? Let's hope we don't end up like we did under Donald Tusk's first government, when Poland's armament spending was severely cut. Radosław Jankiewicz, TV Republika.